This is Russell Howard with good news to live by, and I hope you're having a fantastic, wonderful day. This is Happy Tuesday, and I hope today that you are having a happy day on this Happy Tuesday that God has blessed us with. We just would remind you tomorrow night, Wednesday night at Mad Dom, we'll be doing our Encounters with Christ at 7 o'clock on Zoom. And I hope that you can be a part of that Bible study tomorrow night, Wednesday night, 7 o'clock on Zoom, Encounters with Christ. He'll be doing the temptations of Jesus from Matthew chapter 4, 1 through verse 11. We are in a series through the book of Philippians, and a great book filled with so much joy. And Paul was in prison, and Paul just speaks from his heart about what really helps us to become all that Jesus wants to be. Today, we're looking in this week in verses Philippians 2:12 to verses 18. Today, I want us to look in verses 13 as we talk about allowing God to work in our lives. Sometimes we think we want God to work in our lives, but sometimes we really are letting God work on the outside when God really wants to work on the inside. Authentic Christianity is really God working on the inside, God changing us inside out. Listen to Philippians 2, verse 13. For it is God who works in you to will and act according to his good purpose. The Greek word for that word there means the word energy. God works. It's used twice in verse 13. Quite honestly, our own energy is measly and pitifully in comparison to God's energy. Ephesians chapter 3, verse 20 says, Now to him who is able to do immeasurably more than all that we ask or imagine, according to his power that is working within us. God empowers our desires and also gives us energy to do our duties. God is the energy for changing our life. The very fruits of the Spirit. The fruits of the Spirit are really God working in us. It is God's love. It is God's humbleness. It is God's self-control. It is God changing us from the inside out. God is the energizer for changing your life. He says, I will give you the power to do what you want to do, need to do, and know what is right to do. I will empower you. I will energize you. Authentic Christianity is simply an inside job. We are instructed to live the Christian life depending upon God, letting God work inside of us. Wouldn't it be silly for someone to put milk and a banana and ice cubes and sugar in an electric blender and never turn it on, just turn it up and shake it? Wouldn't it be ridiculous for a tree surgeon to take his power saw and use it to cut a tree, but he never turns it on? Yet we do that all the time in the Christian life, relying on our power rather than dependent upon God's unlimited power. Those two verses that we've looked at, the one yesterday and the one today, go together. When taken together, they teach a biblical truth that we are responsible to do what we can do. And at the same time, God will do his part. So we do our part, God does his part. We can only do because of what God has done for us in our lives, and we can work out because what God is working in. Listen to 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 10. These simple words. He said, But by grace of God I am who I am, and his grace to me was not without effect. No, I worked harder than all of them, yet not I, but the grace of God that was with me. Hebrews 13, verse 21, Brother Ed Nice is with us today, and we're glad he's here, says essentially the same thing. May God equip you with everything good for doing his will, and may he work in us what is pleasing to him through Jesus Christ. To him be the glory forever and ever. God equips us to do his will, and he works in us so we can do it. God has assumed the responsibility for the inworking. We are responsible for the outworking. We are to work out what God has been working in. Some people think the spiritual life is like a rowboat. You do all the work. Some people think it is like a cruise ship. God does all the work. But the truth is, we're more like a sailboat. You do some work, you do some of the work, you host the sails, you steer the rudder, but ultimately, you're dependent upon God to carry you through. The real power for moving the boat comes from the wind. There's no room for believing I'm in control because if the wind doesn't blow, I'm dead in the water. And when the wind blows, on the other hand, amazing things can happen. It is the wind that moves your very life. Work out your salvation. Work out your part. Work is God's part. We are to work out what God is working in our lives. It's kind of like dough that's been put in you and it's working. The yeast is working. Let me tell you something. The more you get God in and depend upon Him, the more you're going to see God working out in your life. Work out your salvation in fear and trembling. As the verse says, for it is God who works in you to will and act according to His good purpose. Live this day today of God's good purpose. May you have a great day and God bless you. We'll look forward to talking with you tomorrow as we're going to begin to talk about what do you do about complaining and how do you control your complaining. Look forward to talking with you tomorrow. Have a great day.